Hello and welcome to the show. This week's FailRace versus the community. We are racing cycle production where we all drive completely stock cars. The first race we were racing some Acura Integras at the Prague short circuit up towards turn 1. This is kind of a nasty first corner here. It's a very quick one with a few different lines you can take. Amazingly, almost everybody made it through. There was one spinner further back. Almost everybody made it through the first corner here, unscathed, and out the other side, a little bit of lag, but everybody was all very close. The advantages of running sort of cycle production when everybody's in the same cars is you often get very, very close racing. And of course, this is all down to driver skill. The cars are identical. You can also tell the people running manual and clutch as they seem to get the fastest starts off the line. But yeah, you get lots of very close racing. And this first lap, at least that was the hope, this first lap there was plenty of cars all close together as the Integras are flung from side to side through the quick chicane. Everything goes drastically wrong. A wooden Integra bumps the wall and takes out 5 or 4 other cars with him. It wasn't a lag crash, that one. That was just an accident on the very narrow chicane. And this is a street circuit after all, with the exception of this final corner and the first corner that are hugely wide. Everywhere else on this track is tight and twisty, and there's not much room for error. I had managed to survive the opening lap, just about avoiding the spinner in turn 1, and was making my way through the field, and behind me there was another battle going on as well. We're going too wide into this particular corner. The cars behind are almost going too wide. I did get to the inside, but I didn't have the speed mid-corner. The red Integra carries better speed, runs very wide on the exit though. I have better drive onto the straight, but it's all for nothing because lag messes everything up completely, and I get very nearly catapulted off the bridge. So 5 cars were destroyed at the chicane. Another 3 cars were destroyed on the bridge. This was on the second lap. It didn't quite go to plan, this first race. I'll be honest, it didn't quite work out. The top 5 were the only cars that didn't pit. And I mean, I think third and fourth, or didn't pit on the opening after the opening couple of laps. I think third and fourth have had a bit of damage, have had a little bit of bumping. Yeah, it was kind of a bit of a mess at the start of this one. Yeah, there wasn't there was kind of on-track action. It was incredibly hard to figure out who was where, and who was on what lap. It was a bit of a mess, I'll be honest. The yellow car thought he'd managed to get 4th position. Couldn't quite make it stick though. Couldn't quite get the drive around the outside of that corner as much as he'd like. Is now side by side. Then there's the traffic jam where we were trying to get our stricken cars out of the way, but there's only so much you can do on a narrow bridge. It may have caused a little bit of a kerfuffle through the very fast chicane. We were trying to get our cars off the bridge as best we could. Yeah, it's a very narrow part, but probably the worst part of any track to break down on or to get your car stuck. It's really not a good place to be. As I said, yeah, trying to see who was on what lap and where, it was a bit of a mess. There wasn't, in all honesty, a huge amount of close racing, as so many cars had been broken, whether it was through lag. This time it wasn't completely lag's fault on this one. It was just an accident that happened on a narrow part of the track. Yeah, so lots of cars went to the pits. Most cars ended up spread out. Not much overtaking went on. I think this was over something like 10th place between a couple of cars that were involved in the big shunt at the chicane. Yeah, there wasn't a huge amount of people close together really on the track, which was a shame because, as I said at the start, you know, when everybody's racing the same cars, you can get some really close racing. It was just a little bit unfortunate on the opening lap that we had some accidents. This was by far the closest action on track, all over 4th place between these two. After the minor scare through the off the end of the bridge, they remained like this for most of the race. This time the yellow car having a look up the inside, can't quite get the maneuver done there. Then there's a little bit of lag, so I'm not entirely sure quite what's going on. And they're both very slow. I'm not sure if they had sort of like the slow-mo laggy thing going on, because they're both incredibly slow around that corner for some reason. Either way, the yellow car gets the acceleration onto the straight and finally gets that position after much trying. at the front, and the leader had led for pretty much from the off. There was a white Integra in second that had been in second for most of the race and had been fairly close. There'd never been any overtaking between the two of them, but the white Integra had been fairly close. He clonked the wall at the chicane. Again, I think it was a lag one. The replay was a little bit funny on it, so I'm assuming it was the sort of like the slow-mo-y lag crash. Yeah, second place bumped the wall again, or bumped the wall, sorry, and yeah, 4 cars finished without going to the pits. Only 4 cars completed this race without having to make a pit stop. There was a very high attrition rate on this particular one. It was quite a mess at Prague. Race number 2, and we went to Laguna Seca with the Hyundai Genesis, a car that I really quite like. I think it's a much overlooked car. People don't think about running this vehicle. It's a great car. It's a really good fun car to drive. Not my normal sort of car. It's quite oversteery. It's very oversteery, but it is good fun to mess around, and it's quite a quick car. On the first lap, everything was very close, but it was all very neat and tidy through the first quarter. Only a couple of cars ending up out a little bit on the sand. No big scary moments. We were all too wide. It's just a train of cars too wide through that next corner. And again, up to this one, I'm on the outside, and the outside is scary. Around here, the car in front is sideways. I managed to get the maneuver done though, and yeah, we're not too wide anymore, thank God. It was a hectic opening lap. The car in front goes very defensive. I wasn't particularly thinking about going around the outside. I just got much better drive out of the exit. A bit of a sideways moment, slightly from my car, but I managed to get the position, and so far everything was going fantastically well. It didn't last long though. The car in front, a big lag spike fired somebody into the barrier, with a few of us having to take to the sand to avoid it, and then another lag spike would take out another 2 cars up ahead, spinning across the track. I'm hard on the brakes. Amazingly, I don't quite know how I managed to get away with that one. Yeah, I just stopped it and got it out of the way in time. And I hadn't even lost that much time. I mean, you were already about to go on the brakes anyway for the corkscrew. I hadn't lost that much time on the cars in front, despite having to dodge a spinning and flipping and rolling Hyundai. Not the again, not the cleanest of starts, but this time there were fewer cars broken on the opening lap. I think only 3 or 4 were killed on that one. And at the front, things were very close between a large group of cars. The top 4 here were all running very close together. The white car getting to the inside as they round the crest and come down towards the first corner. Just brakes a little bit too late, ends up out a bit wide. I mean, when everybody's driving identical cars, if you make a little bit of a mistake, or if your car gets a little bit damaged, you're going to feel it. You're going to notice as cars are going to come streaming past. The silver car here is trying to be brave around the outside, can't quite make that particular maneuver stick. The blue car's got a little bit of breathing space now as everybody fights before. Runs a little bit wide across the sand. There's a little bit more lag going on. The silver car's still right behind, having a look. He's thinking about going up the inside, but doesn't quite try that maneuver. And the silver car though was to come under pressure from 4th place. The black car gets a fantastic drive up this hill, and then gets a quick line through this top corner. I mean, the silver car doesn't run wide, just a little bit slow off the corner, and now there's a drag race up the hill. Both cars exactly equal, so it's all about who got a better run out of the previous corner. They're playing keepy-uppy with the bumpers that are littering the track before the corkscrew, and the black car makes his way up into 3rd. The blue ended up across the across the sand on the corkscrew. Everybody's all busy changing positions. The leader's gone and played in the dirt. The silver car's off in the dirt as well. Me and the yellow car are coming to join in the fun as well. It's too wide again through this next corner, but neither have quite got the grip through that one. Both end up out a little bit wide. Me and the yellow car both sneak past the silver vehicle as he's rejoining the track. I'm out wide going the long way around the final corner. Silver car just gets a kick of oversteer on the exit of that corner, and yeah, has lost quite a few positions, unfortunately, on that particular lap. Now, you will now notice that all the cars are rather beaten up. There was an almighty lag spike for me that completely messed up the replay halfway through. That's why all the cars from here on in look all broken, and mine's fine. Yeah, it was being funny. There was only 1 car was killed in that lag spike, but yeah, it was it's a strange blooming thing. Servers are not being particularly cooperative. Anyway, the cars in front of me here are in a 2nd and 3rd place. The white vehicle doing a good overtake to get past the black car. But they've slowed each other down quite a lot through that first corner. You saw how much ground I've made up, and I'm right on the tail of this little battle as we come through the next few corners. And sure enough, the black car just can't quite stop it in time. Runs a little bit wide on the exit, and that's a simple maneuver for me. I will take them any day. I keep my car on the inside, get it done. It's not quite all over. The black car is still very close. Vehicle in front gets a big slide on the way up the hill. He's still close behind me, but you don't really want to try and overtake up here unless you really have to, and you've got to be blooming brave to get it done. I'm out wide over the sand. The car, I was pretty much following the car in front. We both ended up out wide at that particular point. Fortunately for me, the black car was a little bit too far back to try anything into the corkscrew, and I managed to just about hold on to a third place. Yeah, this race was full of plenty more action at the front. Further back, it was a little bit quieter, shall we say. There were, as you can see here, this pretty much in fact I think it's the next shot that pretty much sums up the race. Further back, everybody could kind of see the cars in front and see the cars behind, but there was not a huge amount of actual overtaking going on further back. They were all a few hundred meters apart as the car we're following gets things a little bit wrong. Yeah, they're all could kind of just about see each other. There was a large train of them that could all just about see each other, but there wasn't a huge amount going on with it. It was the battle at the front that was the most exciting of the lot. I moved my way up into second after the white car fell off the track, and now with a good run up the hill again. The black car is looking for a way past. Third place just runs a little bit wide across the sand, but it's not a particularly easy pass. They're still neck and neck as they come up towards the corkscrew. The black Hyundai stays on the inside, manages to get it stopped. The white car is kind of thinking, tries to go around the outside, but just doesn't have the grip. Since we're all driving equal cars, we're all driving the same car, they've all got the same amount of grip, it's pretty tough to go around the outside of somebody when you've all got exactly the same grip, and in the end the white car fell off the track. This was about the only overtake that went on outside the top four for most of the race. It didn't involve somebody crashing. Yeah, for the latter half it was incredibly quiet. Further back as they run up the hill, the silver car's thinking about getting to the inside. Can't quite. This was the car that was killed in the lag spike, hence why it dropped back through the order. In the end, the red car was a little bit too narrow on that corner. Just couldn't keep it on the road. Ran too wide on the exit, and a fairly straightforward pass in the end for the silver vehicle. The car behind them was one of the cars that was destroyed in the opening strangeness lag crashes. At the front, and as we came on to the final lap, I was in second and doing my utmost to try and catch the leader. I'd done a pretty good job of carving through the field, but it was proving quite difficult to get to the lead. As the leader ran very wide through turn one, I saw my opportunity on the exit, got up the inside for the next corner, couldn't quite stop it, little bit of a bump, so I decided to let him go. But of course, while we're tangling away, the car behind is catching up, and then the third car in a row would fall off the road at exactly the same point, and I would go and get this get this position in. I don't know what it was, just cars liked falling off the road in front of me. Then things would go wrong for me as the strange slow-mo-y lag would go on, and I couldn't slow my car down in time for the next corner, and all of my work would go to waste. The blue car is back in the lead. I'm now almost down to third as we go side by side up the hill. The black car on the inside for this next corner. I don't want to go too wide, and sure enough, the car in front, just again the similar thing to the previous clip, just taking too shallow a line and not slowing the car down enough, ends up out wide, and I've got myself back up into second, but I'm fast running out of places to overtake. Far too far back to have a look in the corkscrew. Black car is using all of the curb and a little bit more on that one, and these next corners are too fast. There's not really anywhere to overtake, and you've got to be a little bit careful. Even though I'm probably the quicker car here, I can't go too aggressive as there is a car right behind me as well. So the final opportunity is into this last corner. I'm a little bit too far back. I go brave on the brakes, but I'm not close enough. In the end, I have to kind of duck out of it so I don't run into the back of the blue car. The black car has a go at getting up the inside. Both of us get a slide on the exit, but I get a little bit better drive. Have to settle for second place. It was a great fun race, though. I thoroughly enjoyed this particular one. This is why cycle production is great. When everything does work and when there isn't when the lag isn't too bad, there can be some very, very close races. And the Hyundais are very good fun to drive as well. Our third and final race, we went to the Sebring Full Circuit with some Lamborghini Murcielago SVs. This is quite possibly the noisiest race in FailRace versus the Community history, as these are quite incredible sounding vehicles. Through the first quarter, there is much smoke as cars go sideways, and on this opening lap, it wasn't too bad. There was a spinner at one of the quarters. It wasn't too terrible at an opening lap. We did have some connection problems. There are only 12 cars running in this race. That's all that would get connected. I tried getting more people in. There was no more people would get connected for this particular race. I have no idea why. The lobby it wasn't the best of evenings, I'll be honest, for connection issues. Now, one thing with the Lamborghinis is that they are very fast. Yes, they are four-wheel drive. However, quite a few people were struggling with the brakes, as we see at the hairpin. Two cars having, from that particular shot, having to take the escape road. These are big, heavy cars, and they do take a fair bit of stopping, so you've got to be early on the brakes. They're also incredibly fast cars. These are really very, very fast vehicles, so you're going very quickly into braking zones and don't have particularly good brakes, which means you've got to be careful. And I'm going to be honest, this was not the best of races in that there just wasn't very much going on. The field got very, very spread out. There were a few bumps here and there, and a few cars ended up broken, and yeah, the field just spread out. I don't think there was too many lag bumps. I think these cars were just a bit difficult to drive. People might not have practiced with these, might not have driven these cars. I think this is about the only overtake I could find that was a sort of a normal conventional overtake around the outside of the final corner. But I'm pretty sure the red Lamborghini was suffering from some form of damage, as you see how much faster the black car is in a straight line. There just wasn't very much in the way of overtaking going on in this one, which is a little bit of a shame. I mean, I quite like these cars. They aren't the easiest of vehicles to drive at all. They're quite understeery, they're not very good on the brakes, and they accelerate like mad, so it's very easy to not realise how fast you're going. At the front, it was kind of close. It was kind of close between us. We were by far the closest car on track. The rest of the field was really very, very spread out. I think this was about the closest I got to the leader as we come up towards the hairpin. I think the car in front was a little bit conservative on the brakes, and I got things just about perfect into the hairpin. Yeah, these things were difficult to get stopped. You had to brake quite a lot earlier than you were perhaps expecting. But again, I never really was in a position where an overtake looked likely. I mean, I'm close, sure. I'm fairly close through here. Yeah, I'm fairly good on the brakes. The car in front gets a little bit of a slide. I'm still too far back. I'm not going to be able to try anything through here. I'm just looking around, seeing if I can do anything. I then get things a little bit wrong. I'm quick through this corner. On the exit, I just get a wheel on the curb. And what happens with these cars? It certainly seemed quite noticeable with these cars, more than some. You put a wheel on the curb, it really drags the car off the track. You get a wheel on the curb and a wheel on the grass. It is a real pain to get the car back on the track. It happened to quite a few people I saw while flicking through the replays, and I just lost that little bit of time. I was just now too far back to really do anything, and as we came on to the final lap, yeah, I was just too far back to try anything with these particular cars. It was a bit of a shame with this final race. Yeah, it was very, very spread out. As we came on to the final lap, it was I wouldn't say a completely easy victory for the car at the front. I was there or thereabouts for a little while, but yeah, everywhere else it was all very spread out, which is I'd hoped for some slightly closer racing with cycle production. The Hyundais were very good fun. The Integras were kind of ruined by a couple of crashes, and I think these cars may have been just a little bit too fiddly to drive, a little bit too difficult if you weren't completely and utterly used to them. So yeah, wasn't the most successful versus the community, but you know, we still had some fun with it. Anyway, that is it for this week's Versus the Community. The next one shall be on Thursday, the 12th of February, staying on Forza 5. We are going to be running open C-Class cars, however they must be fitted with drag tyres. So the cars are going to have to be run with the drag compound of tyre on them. Now the races are going to be around 10 to 12 minutes, which means tyre wear is going to be very important. You may have to pit. You may try and eke out the tyres to survive that final lap to save the time of going to the pit lane. We did this before. It was good fun. I fancy doing it again. And yeah, with C-Class, a little bit different vehicles we'll be running this time. Yeah, I think it could be interesting to see what people come up with and see how many people brave not pitting. If you want to sign up to take part in this event, then you can go to our forums. There will be a link in the description. Find the FailRace versus the community section, and the sign up will be in there. However, that's it from me, so thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.